From the New Arts and Media Studios in Milwaukee, I'm Charles Purcell. This is The Log. I'm sad today. I lost two people. One personally, and then a particularly hard celebrity death. Jane Goodall passed away. First, let me tell you, I don't know how much you need to know about this, but my personal loss was just a friend who I haven't seen for several years, but we worked together many times, about 10 to 15 years ago during that span of about 5 years. We worked together several times. He was a musician. And we collaborated, and he was just one of those guys. One of those really you got somebody like this in your life, right? That just makes you think we're going to be okay, because if we can still make humans like this, we must be all right. His name is Jack Forbes Wilson. And some of you may know him. He was a musician, well known in the Milwaukee area. He just everything he did was, smart and funny and brilliant. He was talented, but the most important thing about him was how he treated people, how he just brought joy into every project, into every room. Everybody loved him. We weren't close friends, as in, the kind of person you spend long evenings with or long afternoons with and talk about, everything under the sun. Mostly when we were together, we were working. But that was enough to know how great he was, just as a person. I'm not being real articulate or profound, I know, at the moment. But man, as long as there are still people like Jack in the world, we're going to be okay. And as long as there are people like Jane Goodall in the world, we're going to be okay. We lost both of them, so let's just pray to God, however you understand God to be. Pray to God that there are people to take up the mantle and follow the examples. Now, again, with Jane Goodall, I didn't know everything about her. I wasn't a super fan. I didn't follow her career necessarily. It's just when she did pop up in the news, I was always just completely enthralled. What a beautiful person. So, you probably know more about her than I do. You see a segment on 60 Minutes, or you see some documentary, or you hear her interviewed on some program, or you read an article or an essay that she wrote a few times. So I'm not pretending to be any great expert. All I know is that whenever she came into my field of vision, she just made me feel great about the world. Her work, of course, as a natural scientist, biologist, whatever you call her, zoologist. Studied chimpanzees, of course, considered the world's foremost expert on chimpanzees, according to the Wikipedia page I'm looking at. Founded the Jane Goodall Institute, on the board of the Non-Human Rights Project. I love that. A United Nations Messenger of Peace. Of course, a very effective and vocal advocate for the preservation of forests, to fight the climate crisis. And on top of that, let me add something trivial. Well, at least it's trivial by comparison. I don't know. Man, who aged more beautifully than Jane Goodall? She was 91 years old when she passed. And right up until the end, I know whenever I would see her on television or see a picture, I think, man, that's a beautiful person. And I'm being very superficial right now. That's how you do it. That's how you age. That's a lesson for all of us. I think there might be something to the theory that if you're beautiful on the inside, you're beautiful on the outside. And vice versa. And especially today, my God, when people are so desperate to look youthful. You know, the Botox and the surgeries, and men and women both. It's gotten to the point where it's almost comical. Especially in the MAGA world, there's a whole MAGA face thing happening. Yeah, let's all take every lesson possible from Jane Goodall. You and I have talked in the past about deep ecology, and this is just a good opportunity to remind you once again. Just look up the term, search it. I forget the author's name now, it doesn't come right to mind. But there's a book, I think, early 70s maybe, mid-70s, titled Deep Ecology. And you can kind of guess from the title what it means. That we need to honor all life on Earth, all non-human life with whom we share the planet, and we have a mutual interest. We have a shared well-being. Jane Goodall understood that. And the whole thing about the deep ecology philosophy is it goes beyond just being a traditional, conservationist or even environmentalist. It's a way of understanding the world. It's at the risk of using the word spiritual, but you know me, I'm not really a spiritual person. I'm pretty practical. I'm political, and the philosophy of deep ecology, where we try to reduce or even eliminate our human-centric way of looking at the world, that we are, we hold dominion, the kind of Old Testament idea that our relationship with nature is that of master and slave rather than mother and child. Yeah, to really commit to the idea of deep ecology makes you question everything political, everything economic, the way we inhabit the earth, the rules we devise to keep our society going, to keep our culture going. A deep ecology mindset that demands respect and an equal regard for all non-human life, if taken seriously, would surely eliminate the kinds of systems we've come up with so far, especially regarding capitalism, money, profit, private ownership. You don't have to be some kind of wild-eyed radical leftist to practice deep ecology. Would lead us naturally into advocating for systems that not only preserve the planet, but would allow us finally, after many generations lost in the wilderness, for us to come back to our senses and to live as though we are part of that world, as though we are part of the earth, that we belong to it, not that we hold dominion over it. So, Jane Goodall passed away. Let's hope that those of us who admired her and loved her and followed her will have the courage, the strength, the ability to continue her work. Now, we don't all have to become zoologists. When I say continue her work, I guess what I really mean is to follow her example on just how to walk on this earth, what to prioritize, what to advocate for. And the same goes for my friend, now the late, great Jack Forbes Wilson, who knew how to walk on this earth. He knew how to create music and theater. He knew how to treat people. He knew how to teach them, how to be with them. He just knew how to be in a room. Jane Goodall received the Presidential Medal of Freedom. As I was reading about her today, I thought I remembered that she had received the award, but I couldn't remember the details. And I looked it up and it said she got the award in 2025, so just very recently. And I thought to myself, that had to be Biden. That had to be before the inauguration. So I looked it up real quick, and yeah, that was the case. Joe Biden awarded her the Presidential Medal, one of his last acts as president. So good for you, Joe. Yeah, the Orange Menace gives the Presidential Medal of Freedom to people like Rush Limbaugh and Charlie Kirk. So he's done everything he can to render the award meaningless. But like everything else in his life, he'll fail at that. All right, well, speaking of the Orange Menace, let's talk a little politics here before the day's over. Switching gears pretty abruptly here, war criminal Bibi Netanyahu was in D.C. this week, and he and the Orange Menace, good Lord Jesus, Mother Mary and Joseph, announced a big peace deal. And you could hear eyes rolling all around the world. I know mine were. Just such a ridiculous notion. And of course the Orange Menace had to put it in hyperbole that was just completely off the charts. He said, I asked, how long have you all been fighting? 3,000 years. Oh, that's a long time. And now I've solved it. That's pretty much, that's not a quote, I don't think. Might as well be. Pretty much what he said. And I think this will last for eternity. That is a quote. He used the word eternity. This 20-point peace deal that he and his real estate buddy Witkoff have come up with is going to end a 3,000-year conflict and last for eternity. Oh, very good. Sure it is. From everything I've read about the deal, it's completely one-sided. Gives all power to Israel, 100%. Gives absolutely no consideration at all to the people of Palestine. They are 100% reliant on the goodwill of Bibi Netanyahu. And those four words have never, ever been put together in the same sentence before. Goodwill and Bibi Netanyahu. I got to talk a little bit about this crazy get-together at Quantico, where over 800 members of the top military brass were summoned so they could see Pete Hegseth's little sort of stand-up routine, pretending to be a tough guy. Can you imagine the nerve it takes to do that tough guy routine in front of 800 of the top military brass? I mean, it's just hilarious when you think about it. And Hegseth is like the Orange Menace himself. I've never seen this level of self-delusion. Like, completely unaware of how ridiculous they look and sound. Was there one single person in that room who took him seriously? Talk about eye rolling. They couldn't, they don't do that in public. But they were doing, man, I'd love to be inside the heads of those 800. What a joke. Pete Hegseth is hair gel, makeup, and a shiny suit. What an absolute clown. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows it, including all 800 people in that room. Everybody knows it, except him. At least the Orange Menace is 80 years old with a family history of dementia. Pete Hegseth, what's your excuse? Now, speaking of the Orange Menace, we have to say just a couple of things about his hour-plus ramblings in front of these 800. A lot of it's just material for late-night comics, and that's fine. But the problem is, of course, this weird orange puppet show that we're all forced to watch, of course, has people behind the stage manipulating that puppet, right? So all of this tough talk about American citizens in inner cities being the enemy within and calling upon the United States military to, quote unquote, handle it before it gets out of control, this war from within, and, quote, you can do whatever the hell you want to do, unquote, when dealing with these people, these American citizens who've been labeled as the enemy. Yeah, this is more than late night fodder from a puppet. These are serious threats from the men pulling the strings. So don't just whistle past this one. All of us, each one of us, has to loudly denounce every word that was spoken from that stage on Tuesday. And when I say loudly, I mean what you and I always talk about. I mean loudly. I mean literally wear it on a t-shirt, put it on your hat, wear a button, talk to neighbors, talk to friends, talk to family. Make your opinion known loudly in your social media platforms. If you have any connection at all with the armed services, if you yourself are a veteran, if you have family, friends who are veterans or currently serving, reach out, talk to these people. We all need to be absolutely outraged about this. The whole take him literally or take him seriously or mock him or laugh at him, all of that stuff, fine. I understand the debate. Mocking is good, mocking is fine. I'm fine with all of that. But don't let all that theorizing about how to handle him slow you down from doing what you need to do. Don't let it silence you. This kind of thing absolutely has to be taken seriously. Because he's not only talking about it, he's doing it, inch by inch. First Los Angeles, then D.C., then he threatened Chicago, now it's Memphis, and then it's Portland because he saw some 5-year-old footage and he thought it was happening today. And he's not smart enough to come up with this stuff. He just likes it because he can feel powerful. The puppet believes his own puppet show. But if you just look at the puppet and mock the puppet and believe that he's harmless, you're ignoring the fact that there are serious, dangerous men making this happen. The National Guard, military personnel deployed on American soil in concert with the secret police, the masked American Gestapo of ICE. We continue to see really fantastic and brave American citizens coming out to protect their friends and neighbors, to harass and chase away these MAGA thugs. Great, keep it up. We need to support them. We need to spread their message. We need to share their videos on your platform. Share this information with your representative. Demand action. Now, what I'm asking you to do, I'm not expecting any magical results today or tomorrow or even next week, but if millions upon millions of us participate, we can effectively push back. It's the only way we can push back. just watching it and getting scared and wringing our hands, what's that going to do? Except create sleepless nights for you. I'm getting really, really tired of the word distraction. Just please take it out of your vocabulary entirely. None of these things are distractions. Oh, the tariffs, they're a distraction from the Epstein files, and the Epstein files are a distraction from the ICE raids, and the ICE raids are a distraction from the mass firings, and the mass firings are a distraction from the authoritarian takeover. And come on, it's all happening. We can all walk and chew gum. It's all real. It's not a joke. Joking and mocking are fine. Like I said, I support them. But there's an important distinction you have to make. The joking and the mocking, well, that's our tool. That's one of our tools in the resistance. It doesn't mean that they are the joke in the meaning that, we can just laugh them off. Okay, so let's be clear with that distinction. I called Pete Hegseth a joke earlier. Maybe that was a poor choice of words because I don't want anybody to take that to mean that he's not a serious threat. He is. He absolutely is. So, sure, joking and mocking, that's one tool in our tool belt. Fine, use it. But don't get confused with the concept here. There's nothing funny about the threat that they pose. You get it, right? You get the distinction I'm making? I hope so. Hey, before we go, I'd like to go back to our 45 acts of noncompliance for ordinary people. We got through, about a dozen of them last time we spoke. Let's pick it up from there. I'm going to read a few more to you. This is from How to Resist on Substack. And that's where you find them. howtoresist.substack. Pretty simple. 45 acts of noncompliance for ordinary people. So let's see. Let's pick it up at number 12. Yeah, that's where we left off last time. Report ICE activity through apps like IceBlock, a local rapid response group, or Reddit. Yeah, IceBlock. Remember, that's the app that helps you track and react to ICE raids. Number 13, share fact-checked news from independent sources like factcheck.org. Good advice, always fact-check. Number 14, organize neighborhood defense or safety networks, form local groups to monitor threats, share resources, and support vulnerable neighbors. Geez, some of this sounds scary. But it's where we are. It's where we are. If you do organize a neighborhood defense group, I highly encourage you to always practice nonviolence, to put that at the center of your charter or your informal conversation, whatever it may be. From this microphone, you're only going to hear advocacy for nonviolence. They're always doing polling on this, and the numbers recently are startling. Close to a third of, I think it's over a third of Republicans say that violence is acceptable to them if necessary. But it's getting to be almost as many Democrats now and independents. They're all kind of hovering around that 30% range, saying, yeah, violence, okay, it's okay with me if we need it. So that's scary. Now, what I've noticed in the polling, they don't make a distinction between. I think there are two different ways you can look at it. Like if I was asked that question, I would say 1,000% no. I would not use violence for my political ends. But then if they asked me, would you engage in self-defense if you were physically attacked? Would you defend yourself? Well, even I'd have to really think about that. That takes you back to Martin Luther King and the nonviolent training that he adapted from Gandhi. And they said that you don't strike back. That was the big feud between the Malcolm X faction and the Martin Luther King faction. And we're faced with that decision again. And I'm not going to pretend it's an easy one. And I encourage you to discuss this openly with your friends, with your colleagues, with your comrades. Have the debate. The only thing I'm going to say for sure is, of these two varieties, using violence as a tool versus self-defense, I don't have any trouble with the first one. That's always a big no. Absolutely. Never. Self-defense? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Number 15 in the 45 Acts of Noncompliance. Delay or obstruct harmful initiatives within institutions. Use bureaucratic tools such as slow paperwork. Raise procedural concerns. Or demand reviews to stall unjust policies. Yeah, this goes back to the CIA guidebook of sabotage we talked about recently. If you're part of an institution that is rotting from within, or it's being coerced by MAGA forces, it's being threatened by the administration, and there are examples everywhere you look. We see it in the headlines every day. Of course, the law firms, the media outlets, the retail stores, the manufacturers, everybody, so many, the social media giants, everybody kowtowing. So many, way too many, capitulating. Yeah, maybe you're a cog in one of those machines. You can do some internal sabotage. A couple of years ago, a couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago, you may not have thought that any of this would be necessary or even taken seriously. Like, what are you talking about? But we're here. This is it. And yeah, you may have the opportunity as an individual to help sabotage the capitulation of a workplace or institution that you're part of. Yeah, slow down the paperwork. Ask a lot of ridiculous questions at every meeting just to make it last longer. Write long, unnecessary memos asking for confirmation or explanation. Just gum up the works. There are 1,000 ways you can slow things down at your work. Number 16, read and share. Oh, here it is. If I just read ahead, I would have seen it. Read and share the Simple Sabotage Field Manual from the Strategic Services. I think this is the same thing I was talking about. It was declassified in 2008, and it's available from Project Gutenberg. In fact, there's a link. I'm looking at a link right now on the howtoresist.substack. So go to it. It's number 16 on the list. All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Again, go to howtoresist.substack. Look at the 45 Acts of Noncompliance. Thanks for listening. You can hear this episode and all episodes on your favorite podcast platform, on the website, charlespurcell.com. Follow on Substack and Blue Sky. Thanks to our home station, River West Radio in Milwaukee. Peter Donalds wrote and performed the theme song. All right. I love you. I'll see you out there.